have one urgent question in the hands of Mr Moorhouse, and I call on Mr Moorhouse, Honourable Member for Arbory, Castletown, Malew.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I would like to ask the Minister for Enterprise if he'll make a statement on the cancellation of the 2021 TT races.
On the Minister for Enterprise to reply.
Good morning, Order. Yesterday, the Department for Enterprise confirmed the decision that the 2021 TT races were to be cancelled. This has been a particularly difficult decision as we continue to see glimmers of hope for a global recovery from the pandemic. But the path before us remains a lengthy one with many, many unknowns. The TT is absolutely unique, and due to its sheer size and complexity, has a significant lead time for many people across many areas. It would have been irresponsible to these stakeholders to continue forward without better certainty for next year. I can assure honourable members that this decision was not taken lightly. Over recent weeks, they have been looking at a number of options, including deferring the TT to a later date in the year. Whilst this may have been possible from a racing perspective, the overwhelming feedback the Department received across travel, accommodation and other interested parties was against doing this, due to the complexity and risk in doing so. Consequently, the Department decided it was in the best interest of the island to make an early call to cancel next year's event, a decision which the Department and Council Ministers supported in line with the Government's pandemic strategy to protect the island's residents. The Department understands this will be a bitter blow for many, from the riders, teams and fans to the island's businesses that have lost not 1 but 2 years of potential income. Whilst the impact will be felt in many areas, the immediate impact will be on the travel, tourism and accommodation sectors, and that is why, in parallel with this announcement and with the support of Treasury, we are able to confirm a further extension of support that is already in place for these sectors from March 2021 to the end of April 2021. This early and decisive decision is in order to provide clarity and certainty to everyone associated with the event, including the Isle of Man's hospitality industry, to enable them to move forward, mitigate the loss of the event where possible and plan accordingly. The parallel confirmation of further support and in time further credit facilities we hope goes some way to alleviate the immediate impact this will have. We recognise the challenges that the sector is facing, and we have issued an appeal to visitors booked to attend TT21 to be patient with accommodation providers, travel and tour operators while they work through the implications of this second cancellation. As many people are aware, in line with other countries, we hope to be rolling out our vaccine programme in the near future, and this will enable us once again to welcome visitors as well as friends and family to the island shores again, which will generate much needed revenue for the hospitality industry. We are continuing to plan for a successful delivery of the 2021 Classic TT and the Manx Grand Prix in late August, and already looking ahead to the return of the TT races in 2022. We have already received many messages of support from commercial partners and fans from around the world, and have spoken to a number of teams and riders in the run-up to and after the announcement who, whilst being inevitably disappointed with this decision, do understand it. And importantly, they have restated their commitment to the event. The TT is unique in every aspect. It has a strong and compelling pedigree that draws audiences from around the world. Honourable members, I have every confidence that the TT will return, and I have every confidence that the strength and heritage of the TT brand and the loyalty that it inspires will mean that we can return even stronger than ever in 2022. Good night.
Supplementary question, Mr Moorhouse.
Thank you, Minister, for the clarity and certainty offered to key stakeholders. One interesting consequence of this announcement was the shift in the bank holiday. In terms of moving senior race day to August, there are advantages. But was there any consideration given to moving it to the 4th of June? If that had happened, we would have had 2 bank holidays, 2 weekends during the first week of the school holiday. which potentially would have opened up the potential for a real festivity of the TT and Manx culture, which then would have helped the tourist and leisure sector, which really does need a boost at this incredibly difficult time. Thank you.
Minister to reply.
Good reminder, Lord. Yes, thank you, the Honourable Member, for your question with regards to the bank holiday. Yes, we did consider with regards to moving the senior race day, and we didn't consider the 4th of June. However, we felt that the great success of the Super Manx Bank holiday, which is also, I believe, in the school holiday period and will benefit the young people as well. And building on that success, we have also launched, I will remind honourable members, the event fund, which I know various parts of the island have already taken advantage of, and hope that they will build upon that, not just for next year, summer, but actually through these winter months where the domestic economy will continue to suffer.
Supplementary question, Mr. Robert Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Clearly, a very difficult decision for Council of Ministers today to take, but clearly actions on behalf of both your department and Treasury have created the necessary certainty that was very, very important and timely. But can the Minister assure me that now his department will do everything possible to create innovative responses to the space now placed in the early part of the season as it tries to reopen against the backdrop of the progressive diminution, shall we say, hopefully, of the COVID crisis. A very, very important period of transition back into business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister to reply.
Right, Lord, I thank the honourable member for his question, who has deep knowledge and experience in the industry. Yes, we did want to give certainty, and we did want to make that early. We made that commitment. We would decide this before Christmas, and we have done so. What we have done is engaged very widely with regards to stakeholders, and what came out quite apparent is that the interest in the Isle of Man remains very, very strong, and future bookings for next summer season right the way through is very healthy. And of course, what we would like to do is have our borders open to visitors. Clearly, we need friends and family first, but we expect that to be a gradual return, because whilst we have borders issues, there are capacity issues, there are fiscal issues for those who are thinking of coming to the Isle of Man, and there is clearly confidence issues as well that will come into play when we see a return to tourism, which we expect to be a gradual transition, as the honourable member has highlighted.
Supplementary question, Captain Quine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, following on from what my honourable friend, the member for Douglas East, has just said, would the Minister consider, in the event of a successful rollout of a vaccine, to look at the possibility of announcing that the island is open for business, and perhaps trying to replicate the type of small-scale festival we saw during the foot and mouth crisis of 2001?
Minister's reply.
Good admired. Yes, I thank the honourable member for his question. Yes, we will aim to obviously promote the Isle of Man as being open for business as and when that is appropriate, clearly with regards to vaccine and borders. I will say that the Isle of Man's profile in dealing with the pandemic has been generated in a very positive fashion regardless, which is why we've already seen with regards to the accommodation providers that they have a very healthy slate already for next year. But clearly we can build upon that, and we will look to do that. The honourable member highlights what happened during foot and mouth, where of course the TT was cancelled, but clearly a large number of bike fans still visited the Isle of Man, which is still the Mecca, which demonstrates, I think, the strength of the brand of the TT, because of course, you know, we've got this awful experience of having to cancel it 2 years on the trot, and we obviously are going to rely very heavily on that brand, which we believe is strong and will remain, and we will come back stronger than ever in 2022.
Supplementary question, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wonder if the Minister has considered reviewing his programme for government commitment with regards to a tourism strategy, and clearly that's not been brought forward very soon. I just wondered if you could look at that earlier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Good morning. Yes, thank the Honourable Member for reminding us of the programme for government, which is very important, of course, to all of us. And tourism strategy is an important component within that. That was published just pre the pandemic, and we have had the Visit Agency has had a review and refreshment of that. They believe that the principles of that still remain the same. However, of course, I think what we do have to consider is that this will take time to build up, and going back to the point about gradual return and transition, so it will take time. So in terms of our commitments within there, the principles remain the same. It's just the delivery dates, I think, that are in question.
Final supplementary, Mr Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. One concern that many people have is how will the strong brand name, the strong images associated with the TT be kept alive at the forefront of people's minds until 2022? How does the department plan to keep this excitement and interest going during a 2-year gap? Thank you.
Minister to reply.
Good morning. Yes, that's communication, and obviously I think our marketing, which needs to remain very strong and the forefront. And do bear in mind that we are planning on, subject to vaccine borders, etc., a successful Classic TT and Manx Grand Prix, which in their own rights are very positive and successful events. So we do want to use that as a platform, clearly, for 2022.